Hello everyone, and welcome back to DET Coach's Beginner's Guide to the Duolingo English Test. In the previous lesson, we completed Read, then Speak. In this lesson, we'll move on to interactive speaking, beginning with the question type and response process. Interactive speaking places you in a simulated conversation with an animated character. Each set contains 6 to 8 consecutive questions. You hear each question only once, then have 35 seconds to record your answer. When this task begins, a 15-second introductory screen appears first. It tells you how many questions are in the set and how long you have to answer each one, but it does not reveal the specific questions in advance. The set in the lesson materials contains 6 questions. Check the number of questions and the response time, then click Continue to enter the first question. When the first question begins, the animated character starts speaking. The first question in the lesson materials is, where do you usually study when you need to focus? You do not need to memorize the entire sentence as you listen. Prioritize the task, the subject of the answer, and any constraints. In this question, where asks for a location, study identifies the subject, and, when you need to focus, limits the response to a specific situation. Once you catch these 3 elements, you know that the first sentence should state where you usually study when you need to concentrate. For a different question, listen first for task words such as describe, explain, compare, suggest, or tell me about. Then identify the subject and any constraints such as why, how, one example, or a time when. As soon as the question ends, the screen enters the 35-second response stage. At this point, the countdown has already begun, but the recording has not. When you see click to record, click it as quickly as possible. Do not spend 10 or more seconds silently planning a complete answer, and leave yourself with very little recording time. Once recording begins, answer the question directly in the first few seconds. Then add one reason, detail, example, or result. The content does not need to be complex, but it must be relevant and complete. Submit your answer when you finish. The system then moves to the next question, and you repeat the process of listening, clicking to record, answering, and submitting. Do not restart your entire response after a mistake. If your word choice is inaccurate, use I mean. For example, I usually study at home, in a quiet room at home, because it helps me focus. If your previous statement was too absolute or not clear enough, use let me clarify. For example, the library is completely silent. Let me clarify. It is usually quiet enough for me to concentrate without interruptions. If you give the wrong time, or identify the wrong person or thing, For example, I changed my study plan on Tuesday, because an assignment was due earlier than I expected. If you want to replace an expression with a more precise one, use a better way to put it, is. For example, online study is more convenient. A better way to put it is that it gives me greater control over my schedule. These correction phrases provide only a brief bridge. Once the correction is clear, return to your answer immediately instead of repeatedly explaining why you made the mistake. The evaluation considers task completion, coherence, vocabulary, grammar, fluency, and pronunciation. Finally, use this table to review the entire set. As you listen, identify the task word, subject, and constraint. Give a clear answer within the first 5 seconds of recording. Then add one reason, detail, example, or result. If you make a mistake, correct it briefly and continue. Do not let one small error disrupt the rhythm of the entire set. In the next lesson, we'll learn how to handle connected follow-up questions and give complete answers in interactive speaking.